Hi friends, welcome to the Plain Fun RC channel. I'm your host, Saul, and we are continuing with our build of the AMTN Burt Rutan Beechcraft Starship. Now we're shifting our focus to the areas that need to be painted, and that is the canopy, and then of course the rear cowlings as well for the plane. So let's talk about colors. We're going to go ahead, the uncovered, the unmasked portions you see here are going to be the same metallic red that is currently on the actual fuselage. The windshields, they will be a very similar gray to what you see here on the leading edge of the wing. Now, I was thinking about how are we going to mask these areas off. The easiest way to do it is to take the template that is included with the actual kit and number one, blow it up once again to 141% so it matches the windshield. But number two, I've got some old vinyl adhesive here. And we are going to take our windshields and we're going to make vinyl templates and then use those as our masking templates on the windshield. And then that way, once we're done with painting the uncovered portions, the metallic red, we'll then paint the windshield a very similar to color to, once again, what you see here on the leading edge of the wing. All right, so one of the first things you're going to do too is also, once you remove the template here, you're going to want to use about a 400 grit on the entire windshield to prep it for painting. We'll be using Wings West paints, and we'll have more on that as we go along. All right, friends, more to come. All right, we have gone ahead and prepped our fiberglass parts. We went ahead and used 400 grit sandpaper, gave it a very rough finish, as you can see. It's very important. The two things you must do with any fiberglass part, number one, you want to sand them, usually about a 300 to 400 grit sandpaper. And number two, you've got to go through and you must use dish soap, because those two things, the sanding and the dish soap, help to remove a lot of the mold release that's on there. If the mold release is not removed, then you run the risk of the paint flaking off. All right, we're going to go ahead and put on our primer, and more to come. All right, friends, we've gone ahead and we have sanded our canopy with 400 grit. We're going to go ahead and use some white primer and put that over top. Then we'll hit it with the metallic red after we've gone ahead and masked off our windows. And then once we're done with the metallic red, we're going to go ahead and use a gray to paint where our windows are going to be. All right, let's get started. Let's talk about what we've got here. First of all, our choice of paints is the Wings West paint. One of the reasons I love their paints is that all of their paints match Ultra Coat and Monocoat, which is fantastic. We're starting off with our metallic red, which was the color of the fuselage. And then we've got our primer white, and then we have our clear. Now, they do recommend when using their paints, use the primer white, okay, not a primer gray. It doesn't, they said the finish isn't as good if you use a gray. Best to use a primer white. So we're going to start off with that first. Let's talk about what we did here. First of all, we went ahead, we sanded our canopy because we're going to paint the whole canopy primer. We're going to paint the entire canopy, believe it or not, rather than having it see-through. And then we've got our cowlings here. What we did, we went ahead and we used about 400 grit to get off a lot of the mold release and to roughen the cowlings. Now, it's very important, once you're done sanding, take some dish soap, wash it thoroughly, and that helps to not only get the dust off, but also some of the mold release. These are just barbecue skewers, and the barbecue skewers work really well because you just duct tape them in place, and you can see here we've got one sitting in our Amazon box that we punched a hole through, and that'll make it nice and easy to go through and to actually spray paint that part, because then all we have to do is just take the skewer and simply rotate it so we can spray the side that's facing us. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the painting, and more to come. All right, friends, you can see we've got our first coat of primer on there. We're only going to do one coat because that's really all you need with the Wings West RC paints. They're fantastic. I'm going to leave a link in the description, by the way. All right, let's let that dry, and then we'll go ahead and put on our first coat of the metallic red. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, we've got our first coat of red on the rear part of the cowling and on the windshield itself. And over here on the front part of the cowling, we've gone ahead and we've put on our two coats of the chrome, and then we'll go ahead and tape that off, and we'll do the bottom half, which will be red. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, you can see we've got our first coat on our longer portions of the cowl, and you can see we've got our second coat on the shorter portions, and it's definitely, the color is definitely looking much more like the color you see there on the Starship itself. So it's coming along. I think we may need a third. So if that's the case, no big deal, but we'll definitely put a second coat here on the longer portion of the cowl. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, we've got our fourth and final coat on everything, and they just look fantastic, as you can see. It's a really nice color match to the covering, very close, very close. Now, we're just waiting for it to warm up, getting into the 60s, so we can go ahead and hit it with a clear coat. Usually about 2 coats of clear should do the trick. And after that, these things will be painted and done. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, you can see we have finished painting our cowlings and our canopy, and they just look fantastic. So what we wound up doing was the following. We wound up using a total of 4 coats of the darker color, metallic red, and 2 coats of the Testors chrome. Then once we were done, we taped off the Testors chrome with some blue tape, and then used 2 coats of this wonderful clear over top. Now, I have to thank a friend of mine who is a professional painter and gave me a wonderful tip. He said, what you do, the first coat is just a very light misting, wait 15 minutes, and then come back and do a heavier coat. And you can see it provides an absolutely perfect shine, so much so that when we look over here at the airplane and compare the canopy with the shine on the fuselage, you can see it's almost an identical shine, which is great. And the color is extremely close to the fuselage itself. All right, friends, we're done painting. We just got to go ahead and do some final things, and then we'll be done with the plane. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. More to come.